3, 2, 1.
Sweet. We are live. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this best of three series between El Green in the green, as usual, and Goober Nugget as the Goths in the pink. El Green running his pretty typical pick these days as Khmer, a dangerous fast castle civ for him. Uh, El Green really taking a pretty decisive victory, honestly, in game one. As those Vietnamese, Goob was playing Vietnamese versus Georgians, I believe, and just early pressure, crumbling Pink's eco early, just made it to where he could sit back, just boom eco for the whole game and keep the pressure up. They ended up crumbling Pink at the end, but a really good game.
Yep. I think, yeah, it was a really good game. And I think that Green, now going into game 2, is probably thinking, okay, I went with early pressure in the feudal age because Goob a lot of times can get to a good, uh, go up to castle in a good time. He's probably expecting that now. I'm going to use Khmer and get to castle sooner and just be able to roll with castle units at that point. Um, so I think Green's objective here is really just that, just to get up to castle, do whatever he can as quickly as he can. And I'm sure seeing seeing Pink's pick here as the Goths, he knows that he better get some stuff done before Huskarl starts coming out.
Yeah, this is actually interesting. Pink, at least in the series that I've casted between these two players before, Pink has only played Goths one other time. So this is something like Green continued to hunt. Again, you will not see that from Pink. Um, Goths is not a civ that Pink plays very often. And I believe last time that a matchup between Pink as Goths and Green as I do not remember who it was. I think it was Romans. Um,
Yep.
there was early enough pressure, but really it was pressure as soon as they hit Castle Age, and it was Green. Sorry, Pink just did not have enough time to get the Goth spam out. So I'm wondering, he's played this before. He has lost his scout before, and he does again. So Pink without a scout. Hold on. Okay, yeah. Green again. This is another game. Green is gonna have vision. Pink will not have vision, so that's gonna hurt a little bit. But as I was saying, you gotta wonder: is Pink gonna try something interesting here? Like, is he gonna go siege, or is he gonna go like an unexpected route, something that Green wouldn't expect from the Goths? Because Green and fairly enough, is going, no doubt, to expect infantry spam. He's going to expect Castle Age and the Huskarl spam. But Pink's played this matchup before. Green does lose a villager to a rhino, so this game, Pink has a little bit of an advantage to begin. A little bit
Yeah.
better than last game.
Odd decision to send a villager with 1 health toward the Rhino. Yeah, it looks like already right off the bat, 3 villager lead for Pink. Um, Similar to last game, is it worth the struggles to be able to get deer pushed in?
Right.
I'm not sure that Green could even answer that at this point. Actually,
So Green already on gold. Now, as Khmer, Green doesn't have to worry about building prerequisite buildings to click up to the next age.
right?
So that's one of the huge advantages of playing Khmer. I'm sure Pink is expecting Cav or Scorpions. I mean, he's probably expecting some early pressure, some fast castle age. Khmer is one of the best civs at going fast castles, so I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see what strategy Green employs here, and to counter that, what strategy Pink's gonna try to employ here. Pink actually going up to feudal age first. I guess not a huge surprise as he has a 4 vil lead. So we'll see how much that comes into play as we get farther down the road.
Yeah, I don't really like the decision for green to go ahead and put 3 on gold. I think that's a little aggressive. Um, Usually 1 or 2 as you click up to feudal will get you enough gold to get to castle.
Yeah.
Odd decision there.
Green going heavily into wood, while the rest of his villagers are sent straight to food. And he is, well, I guess obviously he's not spent a whole lot of it. I guess something we need to look out for here is if pink is going to, I think I said green earlier, if pink is going to um, immediately spend that food to go vills, eco upgrades, or if he's going to save it and maybe go for a super, super fast castle, we'll see. They're going to hit feudal age at roughly the same time. Little bit of a let's say 20-second lead from pink, but as again green is Khmer, uh, if they're both going castle age, this is not going to matter a whole lot.
Yeah, most of the time in green's builds with Khmer, he likes to set it up to where he can almost instantly after hitting feudal click up to castle. So let's see how much of a delay he'll have this time. I would expect him to be able to click up fairly soon.
Yeah, only a few food away from being able to click up, and again, not needing those buildings is crucial. Green, able to scout. He's going to see the blacksmith, he's going to see the market, which I was going to note, something you don't see very often from pink. As soon as he hit feudal age, these buildings were being made, so it looks like pink is going to go very, very quickly to castle, or at least as fast as he can. Not quite as fast as green, though. Already clicking up at 11 minutes and 40 seconds. Already clicking up to castle age.
Yeah, it looks like green, with that advantage of just being able to keep an eye on Goob, I think when we see knights, I'm sure it will be knights when he hits castle age, they're immediately going to know where to go. So
Yep.
I think that will be a big advantage.
See pink selling to get up to castle age. So both players on the way to castle age. Pink also going for a double bit axe. This is something that could make a pretty big difference. Green's going to be a full minute quicker to castle age. He's already going for a stable, so yeah, I think you're right. We're going to be seeing knights very quickly. He's on gold. We can expect some farms coming out here pretty soon. I can only assume, let's see, the 6 on gold. Stable coming up. Still on berries, finishing up the wood around his town center, so we can only expect that these villas are going to go on the farms pretty quick. But the difference is, I think the one thing that Goob has going for him here, in terms of the start, is he does have a, let's see, 7 vill lead at this point. So green does queue up another villager, so he's going to start making a comeback there. But pink does have an eco lead. He's going to put walls up. He has 9 villagers on stone. Only a few moments away from going up to castle age. So pink definitely really, really reaching for a quick castle age here to try to get those Huskarls out soon. I can only assume that's his strategy here, trying to really just surprise green with units out early.
Yeah, and with knights just now reaching the base, the timing on this is so critical. I mean, Goob is getting walls up, and as you said, trying to gather as much stone as possible, trying to get the castle up. It's going to be really close.
So this is something green is going to circle around with his knights. He does know that there's a mining camp here. He does know that there are villas on stone. So maybe he's trying to get around and really cripple that. If he is, though, it would be too late. Pink is already putting a castle down right smack dab in the middle of his base, in between wood, in between gold, in range to protect farms. Very defensive. This looks like pretty tried and true Huskarl rush from Pink as the Goth player.
Yeah, I think you're right. And what a gold placement for Pink to be able to,
Yeah.
like you said, cover food, gold, and wood with that castle. So really, um, Green is all in right now on doing everything he can to get to knights. And at this point, there's really not much that his knights can do at all.
His knights do come around looking for that stone, but those villages are already gone, and the castle is already up, and the knights are already in the range of the castle. So they're going to try to pick up some value here. One knight almost goes down. They do kill 1, 2, 3 vills and make a smart move, kind of playing around the outside. Not very many vills for Pink to try to garrison in that town center to contest
Wow,
those
so
knights.
if you're Green, what is the next move? I mean, Huskarl is on the way. Uh, I think still knights would be able to hold their own against Huskarl, but the numbers, you're just not going to be able to keep up with the numbers at this point without slowing down Goob in some way. Looks like he did catch up in the villager count, but uh, Goob's economy is so well protected at this point.
Well protected, but not very booming. I mean, yes, he hit castle quick as Goths. Yes, he has a castle up already. But the problem is, Goob now has two main concerns. One of them is he needs to make a lot of Huskarls. His priority here, obviously, in terms of military, is make a ton of Huskarls and just overwhelm early. That clearly is his strategy. The other priority, though, is he needs to keep his eco going. He needs to keep vills being made. And Huskarls and vills cost food. And he doesn't have a lot of food right now. So even though Green is unprotected, he's undefended, he's putting a second Sable down. Pink, you gotta be wondering, okay, well, Green might be thinking here, well, what do I do, right? He's already got a castle up, super defensive, I can't really touch his eco, he's gonna be making Huskarls, I guess I'll keep making knights, right? And then Pink is thinking, crap, I'm here, I made it, but he's not quite to the point yet where he can truly mass produce the Huskarls. That being said, they are cheap and they are made quick. So he already has 6 out on the field. No military upgrades yet, but he does go for foraging. So this is gonna get interesting.
Yeah, and just thinking about it, I wonder, you think Goob would know pretty much what's coming from Green going Khmer, but still able to just go ahead and make the Huskarl anyway, because it'll come down to numbers. I mean, Goob will be able to produce so many more Huskarl than Green can produce knights, so it may just work still.
And it's a rough situation too for the matchup. As Scale Mail come in for Pink and Bloodlines come in for Green. So both players leaning into their Civ right now. Green leaning into Cav, Pink leaning into infantry. And the problem, the blessing and the curse of that, or really the curse that I'm pointing out for Green, is that Pink is playing Goths. And in Castle, and I believe in Imp, they get a 30 up to 35% cheaper infantry, which includes pikemen, which is what he would need to counter everything Green is making at the moment. So
Right.
it's gonna have to be, early and often for Green. Obviously, as is typically the case against a Goth player, you gotta take him out early, or it could be pretty dangerous. Both players putting up a second TC as well.
Yeah, it looks like Huskarl are coming in now. Gonna look at the villager. The monastery went up. I don't know. What do you think about the choice to go monastery here against mass Huskarl?
Honestly, I don't know. I think, in short, I think the gold would be better spent elsewhere. This is a cheap a cheap squishy unit, and you know, it's one of those things where if it were elephants, I mean, obviously outside of the fact that monks directly counter elephants, you're getting a lot more value per conversion. But when you're converting Huskarls, I don't think there is quite as much value. So I do wonder what his thought process there was.
Yeah, I think I agree. Uh, I do, however, like the switch to battle elephants. That's just, I think they'll do better against Huskarl specifically.
Yeah,
But
in
like you
team
said,
fights, yeah.
Pikeman, Spearman, whatever comes after that uh, from Goob, Green is gonna have a rough time with those, with either of those units. With some sneaky vills now coming around for pink.
Sneaky Vills and Sneaky Knights as well. These three knights have been sitting in the back of Pink's base for a while now, able to pick off a couple more villagers. So he's keeping that eco lead over Pink. He has kept it and is continuing to keep it. Pink is not continuing to make villagers here. However, you know, we're 27 minutes into the game. Both players over 12 minutes of idle TC time. Both players at very similar idle TC times, actually. Sneaky
Yeah,
Vills, but not very productive Vills.
you just get the feeling that it's about to go down. I mean, Huskarl, Pink is producing Huskarl enough to be able to send them out in
Greens,
groups.
let me interrupt you. Green's Knight, I don't know if this was intentional. He somehow manages to walk across and see the three Vills in the top corner of the map.
Wow.
So a stroke of luck there from Green. He knows the Vills are up there. I can't believe that.
But did he notice? I don't know that he noticed.
Did he not? He's sending the knight back up.
Yeah, to me that looks more like a shift click knight all over the map. Make sure nothing's
Wow.
going on. Yeah, I don't think
It
he
looks
noticed.
like he didn't notice. These battle elephants are still sitting down here, so it looks like he didn't notice. Wow. So a stroke of luck from Pink as Green starts to house wall across this area. This could get interesting. A third TC out from Green.
That's
Still,
still
Knight's in his
pretty.
backline.
Yeah, it's still pretty even economy-wise. Green does have a slight advantage with Vills, and of course Khmer uh, with their farms. They don't actually have to take the food back to a mill or town center. They can just immediately deposit that into the bank for Green. That'll be a big advantage.
If this Vil lead starts to increase for Green, this could pose a real problem for Pink. Obviously, he's playing a Civ where it doesn't matter as much as it could, simply because of the fact that he can get units out on the field so quickly and for so cheap for so few resources. But really, he's gonna have to keep an eye on this. I don't know how to. There we go. He's gonna have to keep an eye on these on this Vil count. He does have villagers queued up. He's gonna keep making Vils, but Green trying to get picks, and those knights will finally go down.
Wow. They've been there a while.
Yeah, Green's had some really valuable intel about the back of Pink's base for this entire game, and that's gone now. So if Pink can start to really produce and expand backwards, doesn't look like he realized this wall actually didn't finish up at the north of his base. But if Pink can start to really food, if he can really start to push out with more farms, this could start going his way.
And if you're Green at this point, you've seen Huskarl and Pikeman. What unit can you produce
Yeah.
to take care of both? Yeah, Green's expanding well, I think, but really in trouble at this point. Looks like he will try to drop a siege workshop. But again, if you go Scorpion, that'd be great for pikemen, but the Huskarl are just going to eat the bolts. And then maybe Onager. Uh, even still, the Huskarl are really anything ranged. They're able to take a few shots.
Onager really would hurt. I mean, if you could land shots with it, that would be a potential solution. But the problem is Huskarl are just so quick. All of Goth's infantry are just so quick that that full on into Onager, which is such an expensive tech switch, is you're already into battle elephants. You know, you do have, wow, well, okay, never mind. He does have 4 Onager or mangonels garrisoned in this siege workshop at Greenspace. Speaking of siege workshops, Pink has a siege workshop. That was his sneaky play at the top of Greenspace, whereas, however, rather, he doesn't have any resources to do much with it. He has a battering ram coming out, but there's an elephant and a knight.
Yeah,
So,
it looks like Green does finally see this, and
a good attempt at a sneaky play, but not enough done. Not quickly enough. It looks like this elephant just lost interest and left this ram to its own devices. But for good reason. It looks like we got a fight coming up in the middle of the map.
wow.
All of Pink's army and all of Green's army forming up. So Green did have the idea you were saying. He went for mangonels. Mangonel's gonna land shots. A few Huskarls go down. They're all gonna go straight for the mangonels though. More go down. So he's playing this well. Okay, I say that. He's playing this well and strategy, but just about all his units are dead now. Looks like Green lost 2 mangonels and I think 1 elephant. And he's coming out of this with 9, 10 elephants and a mangonel. So he could just push. And suddenly, you know, you'd think, right, under normal circumstances, you could push because there's no army at the other base. Well, again, this is where Pink really has a kind of a foothold. I mean, he has a 20 deficit. He has an eco deficit, a very strong eco deficit, 3,000 resources collected behind. And yet, he can pump an army out so quickly as the Goths that he's able to kind of keep up counter pressure if he needs it.
Yeah, that's just incredible. Before Green really even has time to think of whether or not he could push with what's left of that army already. What was that? 10 Huskarl already out and attacking. Looks like they're so quick. You really can just avoid the fight and go pick off villagers. And again, all of this attention is not in Goob's base. He's able to just sit back and produce Huskarl, produce villagers, boost his economy. Looks like eventually does lose all the Huskarl coming in, but or will lose, but is gonna get some benefit from that push. If nothing else, just time spent away from his own base.
Yeah, really, could have been a little bit more value there from Goob, I think. The Huskarl kind of picked a really bad fight with the elephants and then decided to give up halfway through. Lost those resources. All he accomplished there really was distracting Green enough to keep him out of his base, which worth it, you know. I'm sure. I mean, that's definitely there's value to that, but I don't know if he killed a single villager. Maybe 1, maybe 2. The eco KD is still in Green's favor, so really more of a time saver than anything. And I say that being skeptical. Here he is again. He has had a chance to build up another army. He's got 23 pikes, 8 Huskarls. He does have iron casting, finally getting wheelbarrow. Green does have wheelbarrow and double bit axe, but no other military upgrades. I say that, other than bloodlines. And,
Yeah, I would
sorry,
have liked to have seen anything for the battle elephants. I think that's the right play specifically for Huskarl, but they need to be upgraded and they have to be backed up by something else. Goob is going to transition now to more pikemen, and they'll just be able to shred through those elephants without any siege to back it
well,
up.
yeah, he sees this issue. He sees that Green's really his only shot here is elephants and siege, and so he's going to go heavy into pikes. He's going to go heavy, lighter into Huskarl for well, Squire's coming out for even more infantry movement speed. The problem here is if Green does go siege, Huskarl can just run around the elephants. They are slow. So it does look like he's building some knights here. He is thinking of that.
Got a knight fight down here. Goob will lose a couple more villagers, but pikemen here to clean it up.
Third TC down for Goob. So he now has the foothold necessary to start building back his eco deficit. Yeah, it's so tempting to just keep building those military units. More Huskarl, more pikemen coming out for pink instead of villagers. You gotta wonder. Green, not completely uncontested this game. As he goes up to Imperial Age, he has a 30 vil lead, and yet both players are at 40 minutes of idle TC. So Knight's moving up. Green does go into Scorpions. He's got 17 elephants, over 4,000 HP of elephants on the field here. But a head-on fight versus these pikemen could get dangerous. Green does have Scorpions, so this is a smart play. Scorpions to back up, help against the pikes.
Wow.
But it's a numbers game at this point.
Yep, the numbers though.
Huskarls go around to take out the Scorpions, and the fight is won. Forward TC here for Green as well, looking for more gold.
Yeah, and at this point it looks like, unless there's some sneaky play from Green, this army is going to be just mowed down, and you're left with pikes and a ton of Huskarl in your base.
Green decides to lean into the Scorpion route, going for a heavy Scorpion. That isn't the most expensive siege upgrade, but it's not cheap either. So he's intending to really push with Scorpions. Scorpions in pink space could be a serious problem, as well as a castle could be a serious problem. So really a lot of pressure happening in both sides.
Yeah, hard to keep up with with both sides, but Goob really able to get this villager deficit almost erased, and it'll continue.
Goob grabbing a relic, but the castle is in front of the TC. Now this isn't his main point of eco, so I mean, I guess it could be worse, you know? You gotta wonder, a siege workshop coming up, he's gonna try to build rams, no doubt, try to take care of the castle. Last Huskarl finally dies in Green's base, so he's able to breathe. But this is pressure. Something has to be done about the castle, as, look at this stable, 2 stables, 3 stables coming up behind it. If elephants start walking into pink space right next to him, it could be a serious issue.
Yeah, it looks like Goob will have to go ram here. Without any melee unit, a ram could be deadly. Without any melee unit from Green to defend.
Green, as he's in imp, already got a treb out. this is going to be a serious problem. He has elephants to protect it, elephants to fight the battering rams, so pink has no other option but to send his infantry down.
Oh, gets a elephant conversion there. Wow.
Wow, yeah, gets the elephant conversion. Looks like he's going to be able to take out this second elephant, and the first one is trying to kill Green's Treb to keep that artillery fire off his back. Looks like Green's going to be able to squeeze that Treb out of that mess for now.
Yeah, now you just have problems if you're green. You're focused just trying to keep that Treb alive, trying to keep some sort of pressure down in the south. Meanwhile, Goob continues to produce up to the west of his base, and not looking good for green at this point, although looks like he will be able to keep that Treb alive and continue to put pressure on Goob.
Yeah, I mean, it's not pretty, really, from either side, but Green's able to take down a TC. So it's now 2 TCs to 3. Sorry, 2 TCs to 4. Green has 4 town centers here, and the continued Ville lead speaks to that. Pink, though, able to just create armies seemingly out of thin air here. He's going to be able to sneak past, take out the Trebs. This is the screaming difference in production speed, unit speed, and production cost of the units that these two players are making right now. Elephants are strong, but they're expensive and they're slow.
Yeah, and I don't even remember the price for Huskarl, but I know it's cheap. Certainly pikemen are cheap.
After after the Castle Age discounts that Goths get, I think it's something in the range of 50 food and 20 something gold for a Huskarl, and very little food and about 19 wood for a pikeman.
Wow.
So this castle will go down from green. He does have a couple Pink does have a couple monks just in case more elephants come up, and they do.
Yeah, castle down. Where do you go from here if you're green?
I wonder, knights, some quick, heavy hitting units just go straight behind Pink's base, try to get into his eco. Other than that, with siege, with pike, and with Huskarl and monks on Goob's side, it's not looking like there's a whole lot that he can do. Monks here just passing through up north of this forward town center. Gonna try to convert 2 knights here. Gets 1, gets 2 at the last second. Wow, both monks die, but they still get the conversions. You don't see that every day.
That is crazy. Wow. Yeah, Scorpion. Yeah, green is reaching at this point for anything to slow this down. And I think even if green had the chance to just take a step back to think about what he could produce, I think even then, with no pressure to think on your feet, it'd be difficult to find a good combination. I mean, you have to have a melee unit to deal with Huskarl, and you've already teched into Cav. Really, your only option at this point would be to go militia line, which I could be wrong, but I'd be really surprised if green had any barracks anywhere, because again, he doesn't have to build the barracks before the before the stable. So yeah, that would be a huge tech switch, but I think at this point that's really all you can do.
Green does not have gold income. No relics, no villagers on gold. As that forward town center gets taken out, I wonder, has surely I don't know if he has seen this gold here. It looks like he has. In fact, it looks like he just saw it. He's putting a mining camp up at that north gold because he is desperately going to need gold here. If he does go for champion though, right, I didn't think about that. That would be the answer. That would crush the Huskarl, that would crush the pikes, and that's just about all pink is making at this point.
Yeah, that would be the answer. I don't know if I've ever seen green go for a militia unit. So I don't know if I would be surprised if he actually went that direction at all. It looks like he's going actually for trash cav. So light cav and scorpions behind it. Again, that's just perfectly playing into what's coming out for the Goths.
It's really a rough situation. Not great gold placements either for green. He's got this forward gold. Pink may not even know that's there, but pink now in control of his half of the map. He has this forward middling gold here, and then the one next to green's old TC, which he's gonna drop a castle next to. So pink's gonna have plenty of gold income. Looks like he's actually got a monk walking out to get this relic, I'm assuming. So pink, if he's got 2 relics, he's got 2 gold deposits. Green's on 1 gold deposit here, and struggling to find a counter. It could be interesting.
Yeah, it looks like light cav decent against Huskarl still. Again, it's just really any melee unit. But then the pikemen come in. You know, you have scorpions for that, but then the Huskarl are just gonna walk right around and take that over. So yeah, difficult to find a composition for green at this point.
Conscription coming in for pink, so the Huskarl spam is about to really begin in earnest. Green losing vills here. Another thing is green has forging and scale armor, the level 1 melee, cav and attack techs from his blacksmith. He is in Imperial Age, so he could be up to all 3 of those. And pink does have iron casting and chainmail, the level 2 blacksmith upgrades. So even though the hussars, well, they're gonna be hussars in 15 seconds. The hussars are not quite enough now. They could even be better with those the blacksmith upgrades, but without those, it is gonna be difficult for him.
Yeah, I don't think he realizes how much of a difference the upgrades make. Or it could be that he's just trying to spend resources on a backup unit. He knows he has to have at least 2 different types of units to deal with this composition from pink. Pink, who is immediately massing up another huge army. And as you look at the score, you got to think that this is probably it for green if he can't figure something else out.
So 20 hussars queued up for green, as well as 20 vills queued up for green. Pink missed this earlier, but he did finally take that eco lead back. Without ability to put pressure into that economy as Goths,
Yeah,
this
I just
does not
noticed
look
that as
good.
well. Wow, that's I think not even very long ago, green still had the villager lead.
Yep.
So at this point, Goob is just exploding in economy. And here comes the battle.
So
Ballista
Ballista Elephant's coming out. This is an answer. That's a deadly death ball, especially with ballistics from the university now affecting Scorpion units, and chemistry would make that a pretty deadly death ball to make. Problem is, again, Pink's already making pikes, and he's already making Huskarls, which are resistant to pierce. It's just a hard matchup.
The floods of units from Goob. Amazing to see.
5 barracks, 2 castles. With the Goth production speed and the cheapness of those units, as Pink is now in Imperial Age, something on the order of 35% discounted infantry. It just makes this Civ an absolute monster to deal with. The eco lead is not as much anymore. A lot of eco numbers looking very similar at this point, with Green having queued up all those vills. More Hussars coming out, but Pink's gonna start making Trebs. And if he's walking up with monks and Trebs, he doesn't really need to attack with his melee units. All he has to do is protect the Trebs, which he does have the units to do. Many farms from the Khmer. Like you said, that's the advantage. 44 on farms, floating 2,000 food. So Green does have the resources to spend on these Hussar. Out of 6 stables, he does have the means to make quite an army. You gotta wonder, raiding. Looks like he's gonna try to sneak through with 4 Hussar here. Doing this with something more like 20 could be a serious problem for Pink.
Yeah, but I think just seeing the one Hussar in the far right corner has killed so many villagers. I think he's just trying to get more
I did
in
not
that
even see
corner.
that.
Yeah, that guy's been there a while, and he's
Yeah,
actually flipped the villager lead by himself. Wow,
yeah,
and they'll get a few more.
that's a problem. Pink sees it. He's gonna throw units at it. 1 Hussar goes down. 2 Hussars go down, but they're still back there. Pink should be able to deal with that with pikes, but that's exactly what Green needs right now. He needs counterattack, opposition. He needs something to keep Pink off of his back. Getting housed at 135 when you have 45 Hussars queued up is a pain.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna try to build a bunch of houses right as the Huskarl get around to that area. Unfortunate for Green. Doesn't even look like he's noticed these Huskarl
Hussars
at all.
though, Huskarls just passing through. Pike's here to help with the cav, so it looks like Pink's splitting up his unit types. Pikes will come in to try to kill these vills, and the Hussars are just gonna walk straight into Green's massive farmlands.
Green still does not see the Huskarl. Town center goes down before he even notices. Wow. A
40
lot to deal with.
Huskarl
He
able
does.
to, yep, walking underneath the building with their attack speed and damage versus buildings, able to just decimate that. And the villagers are dropping. Pink trying to go for a forward TC. Green does have Scorpions up front, but again, the amount of units that the Goths are able to make.
And that should pretty well do it, I think. There's
Yep.
not much left over now for Green. The villager numbers after that, I want to say 70, 80 villagers died in that battle.
Something like that. 142 villager kills from Green and counting. Yeah,
and he'll
down to
get
20 for
quite a few
Green.
more.
This is just about.
Yeah, I think that should do it. And even looking back at Pink's base, he's continuing to spam military units. Yeah, this is really what you cannot let a Goth player do. If you let the Goth player get to this point in the game, it's basically over.
Imperial Age, over an hour into the game, is exactly what a Goth player wants to see. Yep.
Still battling again. Yeah, green will go ahead and call it. That's wow, what a game. So
200
again,
Huskarls out from pink. It's just hard to deal with.
yeah, and I think again it came down to similar to the last game. It came down to uh, Civ matchup. When both players are playing to their Civ's strengths, that matchup can mean quite a bit. We saw that in the last game with
Yeah,
knights
yep.
versus archers, and now here with essentially Huskarl and Pike versus Scorpion and Cav. What a game! So this will go to a game 3.
Game 2 in the books. Just looking at some of these stats. Green actually had the lead on wood and food collected that entire game. The gold difference was around 3 to 4,000, but green also had stone collected. Uh, Overall, more resources collected, 5,000 more resources collected. That just goes to show to exactly what you were saying. Um, the unit matchup itself sometimes can be enough to decide what happens. Like you said, when a civ, when a player is leaning in, when both players are leaning into what their civ does best, you've got one that has cav like crazy, insane farm production, super strong farms, able to get up to Castle Age. Green got up to Castle Age in under 15 minutes that game. Super fast Castle Age from him, able to get knights out against a player who's playing Goths, who specialize in infantry units, which happens to include pikes. And it's just that's just a rough matchup.
Yeah, crazy to look at the economy stats for green, but in the score tab, the economy score is so much higher for Goob. Wow. Great game overall. Really excited to see what happens in game 3.
Great game.